Good morning. This is the matter of JD, case number 24-52055 in A. Present in the virtual courtroom, we have attorney Annette Nickel representing the Pokagon man. We have attorney Dan Fagan representing the father. We have the father's guardian ad litem, Kendra Ortega, the child's attorney, Roman Kasorik, and various agency representatives. Mr. Kasorik.
Thank you, Ron. I would call Miss Peters.
Okay. Would you raise your right hand, please, and unmute? There you go. Would you state your name and spell it for the record?
Erin Peters, ErinPeters.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Kasorik.
Thank you. Miss Peters, you are employed by Catholic Charities of West Michigan.
That is correct.
And recently you are the new caseworker in this matter.
That is correct.
You had a chance to review this case with your supervisor, Ms. Tatinen, and likewise with the prior worker, Ms. Hall.
That is correct.
Thank you. Your Honor, I do have several exhibits that I'd like to introduce if there are no objections as submitted to the court and the parties, a list of those exhibits. And I'll just simply list them. Number one being the case service plan with attached PATPs dated 9/25/25. As proposed, number two, foster care supportive visitation weekly progress reports. There are two of them dated 9/3 and 9/10 of this year. As proposed, three, psychological evaluation for Mr. Sinkler. Proposed four, 1-point letter referenced bi-weekly therapy. And number five, on-point letter dated 5/15 recommending a trauma assessment for Jackson. I would move for their admission if there are no objections.
Are there any objections?
No.
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, they're admitted.
All right, Ms. Peters, let's start with JD. Can you tell us how he's doing in his current placement and how is he progressing in his therapy?
JD is doing well in his current placement. He is placed with a relative. He is currently in first grade. He is slightly behind in school. We did request an IEP, but it was denied. In his therapy, he is struggling a little bit with his behaviors. Caregiver has reported that he has been increasingly violent. I have discussed this with his therapist to make sure that those behaviors can be addressed. We're also looking to re-refer for a trauma assessment since the services have not necessarily been a benefit to JD. But other than that, he's doing very well.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the proposed trauma assessment. I believe we had an FDM recently in which everybody agreed that a trauma assessment would be appropriate after its denial, correct?
That is correct.
You are asking the court to order the trauma assessment here today?
That is correct.
And that is based upon everybody's input and likewise the 5/15 therapist letter from On Point?
That is correct, yes.
Wonderful. As far as keeping his hands to himself, JD has had that issue, ongoing issue, since the inception of this case.
That's correct, yes.
It sounds like the frequency has increased lately. Are there any indication that his behavior changes after his parenting times with Mr. Sinkler?
I'm not sure.
Can you check into that?
Yes, I will.
Wonderful. Is he up to date on all of his medical and dental appointments?
Yes, he is.
No concerns currently?
No.
Anything else about JD you believe the court should be aware of at this time?
Not at this time.
All right, let's move on to Mr. Sinkler. Can you give us an update on his needs?
Mr. Sinclair's current barriers to reunification are substance abuse, housing, emotional stability behavior, parenting skills, resource availability, and intellectual capacity. He has been referred to randomized drug screening through forensic fluids, which he has failed to show up for. He has also offered drug screens at parenting time visits, which he frequently denies. One of his barriers is housing. We did help Mr. Sinclair submit a housing voucher to address that barrier. He did complete a psych eval. Sorry. He did complete a psychological evaluation on August 14th. We did just receive the results for those. They showed that he presented a severe mental illness. Due to that, we did refer him to YWCA services to address domestic violence and other counseling. He currently works with foster care supportive visitation, which is a specialist, attends parenting time visits with him, and then meets with him separately without JD present to address any skills that he could improve upon throughout his parenting time. He does attend parenting time visits weekly. During this report period, he has attended all 12 out of 14 visits. And he does typically engage appropriately with JD. Sorry. He is currently still homeless. He has showed proof of employment in Kalamazoo. When he is in Kalamazoo, he has told us that he couch surfs, and then he does have a father in Grand Rapids if he is up here visiting JD that he stays with. We have been unable to see that house as well. I believe that is all.
All right. Let's start with his employment. Currently, he indicates he works for Domino's Pizza.
That is correct.
Do you see any verification of that employment?
Yes, I have. I've seen his schedule.
Wonderful. Your report indicates that you have not, but right now you have, correct?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? It cut out.
I'm sorry, my tongue is a little bit slow today. I had surgery a couple of days ago. So if I slur my words, it's not because I'm intoxicated. It's because of my surgical procedure. You've seen lately his verifications of employment, correct?
Correct.
Good. Housing, he has been referred to several housing resources.
Correct. We sat down with Mr. Sinclair and filled out a housing application, as well as provided him many apartment complexes that accept the voucher as well.
All right. He has been referred to YWCA for domestic violence counseling.
That is correct.
And has he did the initial intake, and is he attending?
To my knowledge, he has not done the intake yet. It is scheduled.
So that's upcoming?
That's correct.
All right. Social support system, he indicates that his support is his father, Mr. Gray.
That is correct.
Does he ever talk about his mother?
Not to me, not that I've heard. No.
The psychological report indicates that he did report that he has contact with his mother on an occasional basis. Did you see that?
I have not, no.
All right. Have you reviewed his psychological?
I have.
You indicated that he has severe, in your direct testimony before here, is that he has severe mental health issues.
That's correct. Yes, that's what was listed.
All right. Do you have that psychological in front of you?
I do not, no.
All right. If I were to tell you on page 6 in his diagnosis, the diagnosis was deferred as to mental illnesses suspected only, would you have any questions about that?
No, I would not.
All right. And medical condition indicates no diagnosis, correct?
That's correct.
Did you review that psychological with Mr. Sinclair?
Yes, we did.
Did you notice that he declined to answer many questions directly to the examiner?
Yes.
Is it concerning to you as the agency?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. He does not admit into psychological to having any substance abuse issues, although the past history indicates otherwise.
That is correct, yes.
He also declined to name the name of his wife and the mother of JD.
That's correct, yes.
His reporting is, at least in that psychological to Dr. Kulishevsky, is at least suspect from what you have reviewed, correct?
Correct.
Excuse me, I didn't understand that question. Could you repeat that, please?
Absolutely. I said his reporting to Dr. Kulishevsky, based upon Dr. Kulishevsky's psychological evaluation dated 8/14 of 25, is suspect, isn't it? About being
Yes.
truthful.
Yes,
Oh.
that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you. You will, of course, incorporate the recommendation of that psychological in your treatment plan for Mr. Sinclair.
That is correct.
He has not provided you with any drug screens for the past 2-3 months.
No, he is not.
Was he informed that any missed tests or tests that are not taken will be considered positive?
Yes, he was.
Is he fully aware of that fact?
Yes, he is.
How are his parenting times with JD?
Parenting times with JD go very well. He engages appropriately and shows interest in JD's day and his schooling. There are not many concerns, if any, with his parenting times.
Wonderful. I read in a report that a couple of months back he had parenting time that was at some point unsupervised for approximately a half hour, and both JD and Mr. Sinclair were in a bathroom. Do you recall that?
Personally, I do not.
You'll look into that?
I will, yes.
The report indicates that there were some issues after that 20-minute stay in a bathroom.
To my knowledge, there is a safety plan around that instance as well, but I will look into that again.
All right. Wonderful. Currently, what is Mr. Sinclair's biggest need in your parent agency agreement? What would you say?
I would say his biggest need right now is his substance abuse.
And emotional stability?
I would say so, yeah.
Thank you. Any services that Mr. Sinclair could utilize currently that is not being provided to him?
I would say once he starts the YWCA, that should help address most of his concerns.
You are aware that there are reports prior that there were domestic violence incidents between Mr. Sinclair and Mr. Vries?
Yes, I am aware.
Is Mr. Sinclair currently denying those incidents?
I am not sure.
Okay,
but I will look into that as well.
Wonderful. Anything else about this case you believe the court should be aware of?
Not at this time.
This is a permanency planning hearing, so will the return of JD home to his parent or parents cause a substantial risk of harm to JD's life, physical health, or mental well-being?
Yes, it would.
And why is that?
Due to Mr. Sinclair's substance abuse and him refusing drug screens, there's not a way that we can verify that he is not using substances at this time. Mr. Sinclair does not currently have a house as well. While we are working on it, if JD were to return home today, it would not be adequate for him.
All right. Therefore, is it in a child's best interest to initiate termination proceedings?
Not at this time.
And why is that?
Through this reporting period, there is not enough evidence to prove that Mr. Sinclair is engaging in services. So we would recommend that we have more time to assess Mr. Sinclair before we would address that.
Okay. And has the out-of-home placement followed a reasonable and prudent parenting standard as defined in the statute, and that JD has had the regular opportunity to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities?
Yes.
Can you give us an example or two?
Yes. JD is currently in schooling as well as with other youth in the home, where he is able to engage in many activities that are age appropriate and allow him to be a kid.
He attends school. He loves to play soccer, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you. What are your recommendations?
It is respectfully recommended that JD remain in an out-of-home placement in a licensed foster home or with an approved relative caregiver. It is respectfully recommended that JD permanency goal remain reunification. It is respectfully recommended that Mr. Sinclair comply with his parent agency treatment plan. It is respectfully recommended that Mr. Sinclair's parenting time be supervised or unsupervised at the agency's discretion. And it is respectfully recommended that a permanency planning hearing be scheduled.
And if I could ask you one question, can you give us some active efforts that the agency has done? Because this is an ICWA case. Can you address that issue real quickly?
Yes, we make sure that any tribe members are included in text messages, any meetings regarding the case, as well as court hearings. They are provided with court documents as necessary, as well as JD is placed with a relative that is a member of the tribe.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Nickel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Peters. I'm Annette Nickel. I'm the attorney for the Pokagon Band. Let's start first with JD. Why was his IEP denied? Do you know?
When I reviewed the IEP denial letter, they said that there was just not enough evidence at this time. To my knowledge, I will review it again. Due to his most recent progress report, seemed to give enough evidence for an IEP, but they said at this time that there was just not enough. So I will review that one more time.
Okay. Is he in need of any type of tutoring to help him catch up?
He could benefit from tutoring as well. I can look into finding him one to help him catch up in his subjects.
Okay. And he continues in therapy. Is that every other week?
I am unsure. At minimum, it's every other week. It might be weekly as well, but I will confirm that.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that right now Jackson is struggling with functioning and behaviors in his placement despite having participated in services?
Ms. Nickel, just to remind you to please use initials for the child.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I know it's hard.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Your Honor. I apologize for that. If JD, is he struggling with functioning and behaviors in his current placement?
Yes, I would say so.
That was what you testified to earlier, was he's lashing out. His hands don't stay with himself and such. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. But he has integrated himself into the family with his relative family?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Does he ask to be taken anywhere else or ask to go back to his mother or father?
No, he has not. When I speak with JD, he always speaks very highly of the home.
Okay. With regard to the assessment, there is a letter from JD's therapist recommending a trauma assessment. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And have you had a chance to review the file from the beginning and looked at his initial trauma screen? Did you look at that by any chance?
I have not gotten the chance to.
Okay. Going forward with JD, do you know of any culturally consistent services that he has been referred to?
I am not sure.
Okay. Do you know if his health care and dental care are completed at the Pokagon Band Health Center?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so that's one referral that he is getting culturally consistent services. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you know if he engages in any kinds of activities that the family might engage in, be it language learning or coloring the language pages, anything like that?
I am unsure.
Okay. Have you spoken with his caregiver about different things that he can be engaged in, the family might be doing, and that he's part of?
I can as well when I see her next.
Okay. And does JD continue with enhanced foster care through the department?
Does. Yes, okay. He has a enhanced foster care specialist as well as a behavioral specialist.
Okay, and do you confer with the behavior specialist and the enhanced foster care specialist?
Yes, I do.
And do you know or have you discussed a trauma assessment with the specialists who are actually working with JD?
We have discussed it. We do need a letter from the therapist requesting a new one for a new trauma assessment.
So the letter from May is not enough?
To my knowledge, it is not. No, we still need a new one.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the father, Mr. S. You said substance abuse is the biggest barrier. Why do you say that?
To my knowledge, I believe it was the last reporting period, Mr. Sinkler did test positive for cocaine. And he has since been refusing tests despite being aware that each refused test is an assumed positive. Okay.
Your testimony is that in the psych that he presented with, you said severe, but nonetheless with mental illness. Mm-hmm. So you referred him to the YMCA services. Can you tell me what the referral said? Like, what is the YMCA supposed to work with him?
Yeah, so it's the YWCA. I apologize if I
no, that might have been my fault. I apologize. Okay.
No worries. So it is a counseling service that does their specialty is domestic violence. So due to his history with domestic violence, they will address those concerns in those counseling services.
How are they equipped to address possible mental health or mental illness? They being the YWCA.
I guess I'm not completely sure. I believe they will, but I can touch base once he starts services to see if that is something they can address.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the question I asked 2 ago. What did your referral say when you referred him to the YWCA?
I was not the worker that referred him to the YWCA. That was the previous worker. So I'm not exactly sure what the referral said. But we didn't want to refer him to too many services because we didn't want to overwhelm him. So we thought that this service could encapsulate many of his needs in one. So it's easier on Mr. Sinkler.
I'm just going to interject for a second. I'm just wondering if maybe Ms. Tottenham might be a better person to ask some of these questions as she's been the supervisor on the case.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. I will. With respect then to employment, the Domino's is in Kalamazoo, correct?
That is correct.
And as far as we know, Mr. S remains in Grand Rapids, living in Grand Rapids?
To my knowledge, he still remains in Kalamazoo. He does frequent Grand Rapids. From time to time, if he does, then he stays with his father. But primarily, he is in Kalamazoo, couch surfing, to my knowledge.
Okay, so as you're making the referrals, is Mr. S okay with referrals in Grand Rapids while he's essentially in Kalamazoo?
We have searched for referrals that do provide online options. The YWCA specifically has a virtual option that they can meet with him.
Okay. How is communication with Mr. Sinkler right now?
Communication as well. He communicates to me via text and phone calls.
Okay. Does he respond within hours after you've texted him?
Yes, he does.
When was the last time you had contact with him?
I had reached out to Mr. Sinkler this morning, but it was probably sometime last week that we spoke.
Do you know if he was made aware of the hearing today by you?
He was, yes.
Okay. Did he acknowledge that he knew the hearing was this morning?
I did not receive a response, so no.
Okay. I have nothing further. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fagan.
Thank you. Could the court advise me whether my client is present?
He is not.
Okay, well, that's what I was assuming.
Nor has he appeared in the waiting room at any point.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Well, the first question is, I guess, Ms. Peters, you did indicate to my client that there was a hearing today, correct?
Correct. I did send him the link as well.
Okay. That was recently, correct?
Correct. It was this morning.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to start with something that seems pretty positive. My client made 12.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fagan. I hate to interrupt you, but I think we need to make the record clear that the Zoom ID that is being used is the same one as the last several hearings.
Okay. Excuse me. Sure, Your Honor.
No problem.
So my client has made 12 of 14, at least as of the time of the service plan. He made 12 of 14 visits with his son, correct?
Correct.
And generally, they went well, from what I read, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I know you weren't there, at least for the great majority of them. Have you observed any yourself between my client and his son?
I have observed one.
And how did that go?
It went well. The visit was at Grand Rapids Public Library. And yeah, it went very well.
Okay, so by very well, I take it there is a bond that you could sense between my client and his son, correct?
That is correct.
So, and the bond was not just a bond, but the interactions were appropriate between them, correct?
Correct.
So, I'm curious. I know you've reviewed the psychological evaluation that Mr. Kosorek referred to, as have I. In general, would you agree that evaluations, well, it seems to suggest my client's got a mental illness, right?
Correct.
But I don't know, you don't have page 6 in front of you. It appears that the person who gave the test indicated that Robert, that being my client, did not have any overt deficits in regard to his knowledge of child development and child care practices. Is that right?
That is correct.
And the writer refers to potential deficits regarding knowledge of parenting technique. That's also referred to in the report. But you have observed my client parenting, and his parenting was appropriate, correct?
That is correct.
So we know that, or at least I presume that the writer of the psychological evaluation did not observe my client parenting. You would agree?
Yes, I would agree.
And my client was clearly guarded during the psychological evaluation, correct?
Correct.
So he was not forthcoming in information. Do we have any sense that this report, given the fact that my client was guarded and otherwise not very cooperative in the testing, do we have any sense whether the conclusions in this report, including a mental illness finding. Do we have any reason to believe that the writer had enough information to give an actual opinion?
I guess I am unsure.
I understand. I'm asking a tough question for you. You're not the person who gave the test. There is a suggestion in the report that social workers continue to attempt to develop a rapport with Robert. Are you doing so?
Yes, I'm trying my best to.
Is it difficult?
I would say so.
Why?
From time to time. Just due to Mr. Sinclair being in Kalamazoo, our in-person contact is more so limited to just over the phone and over text, but I'm still trying my best to make a connection with Mr. Sinclair.
Okay.
He is also pretty reserved regarding information, but we're still making efforts.
Okay, thank you. Have the positive tests for cocaine and marijuana, that was one test, correct?
That is correct.
And I think you said that since then, my client has not tested. He's declined to test, correct?
That is correct.
He did not have a good reason to explain his testing positive, did he?
No, he did not.
Well, assuming that some of the stuff in the psychological evaluation is accurate and true, would you agree that my client needs directed mental health assistance?
I think Mr. Sinclair could benefit from that. Yes.
Well, that's what the psych suggests. And so far, you've not, other than, I'm not casting blame here, but other than the YWCA referral, which is a domestic violence referral, essentially, there is nothing addressing his mental health, correct?
That is correct. We did not want many services for Mr. Sinclair as he often denies them. Even the YWCA referral, he struggled. It took some time for him to agree to that service as well, just due to time constraints.
Do you know whether he started the YWCA class?
To my knowledge, he has not started yet. I believe that is upcoming after they have their initial intake meeting.
Okay. Do we know anything about, because the psychological doesn't really tell us, do we know whether my client has any existing diagnoses of mental health issues?
I am unsure.
Have you looked to see if he does?
I have not, no.
Okay, this is something you need to know, his mental health history, I would assume, so that you could give the best possible care or assistance to him with his mental health issues, if there are some, correct?
That is correct. He has not reported any to me.
Okay, so he denies, just to be clear, he denies that there's any mental health history, right?
That is correct.
Does he deny that he's on any psychotropic medication?
That is correct.
And you have no other knowledge to the contrary?
That is correct.
So this is all self-reporting from him?
That is correct.
So when you list the issues, like in the parent agency treatment plan, the matters he has to address, you really addressed the full you addressed everything. You said he needs everything. You've said the number one is substance abuse. And you're not getting any cooperation on that from him, correct?
Correct.
When was the last time you tried to test him?
The most recent one was on October 21st, when his color was called for the randomized screening and he did not appear.
Ah, okay. As in yesterday.
That is correct.
Okay. Is he aware that he's supposed to report for these randomized color tests?
Yes, he is.
You've had that conversation with him?
Yes, I have.
Could there be further evaluation of my client so we can dig deeper into the mental health issues that may exist in this case? Since there's an evaluation that says he is mentally ill, but there's nothing addressing mental illness in any of his parent agency treatment plan other than the YWCA referral, right?
That is correct. I could refer him to a neuropsych eval, which does go more in depth into those concerns.
Would you? Do you think it would help you in helping helping my client?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You would ask for that then?
Yes. If he is honest during the evaluation, I think it would be helpful.
Right. Fair enough. Is it fair to say you've run into a fair amount of resistance from my client?
That is correct.
Well, clearly, until that resistance is addressed and there is some rapport between you're not going to have any success with Mr. Sinclair and all of his many requirements. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So okay. No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to let everybody know I do have an 11 o'clock, so just keep that in mind with your follow-up. I don't want to cut it short. I can certainly give you another date if we need to continue this, but I just want to give everybody a heads up that we have a hard stop at 11.
Thank you.
Mr. Kocourek, any follow-up?
Yes, Your Honor, real quickly. Ms. Peters, you were asked whether or not additional psychological testing or treatment would be appropriate for Mr. Sinclair. However, based upon his history of resistance and non-disclosure and being very guarded, would that be appropriate at this time until we overcome that resistance?
I would say it would be more appropriate when he is less guarded. I know at many services that we have provided to Mr. Sinclair, he often denies. And due to him being guarded during the first psychological evaluation, I think it's fair to assume that he would likely be guarded during the second one as well.
And there has been some, at least implications by the questioning that Mr. Sinclair has been diagnosed with a mental illness. However, the psychological indicates that mental illness is suspected only. He's not been diagnosed with it, correct?
That is correct.
All right, nothing further.
Ms. Nickel?
I have nothing. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Fagan, any follow-up?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Kocourek, additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Nickel?
No witnesses. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Fagan?
No, thank you.
All right. Statements, Mr. Kocourek.
Thank you, Your Honor. I had a chance to actually see JD last night. However, it was over Zoom due to my medical conditions, Your Honor. If that is acceptable to the court, he seemed doing very well. We had a wonderful conversation. He interacts with me appropriately. At his age, of course, he's very mobile, but he appeared just fine. He enjoys staying with his aunt. He has two cousins there that he enjoys playing with. He indicates school is going fine. So that was good. I'm glad to see that he's doing very well in his current placement, and that it is a tribal placement, Your Honor. So that is a positive in this case. I think the recommendations of the agency at this time are appropriate. I would ask that the next hearing be set as a permanency planning hearing based upon the lack of progress of Mr. Sinclair in this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nickel?
Thank you, Your Honor. On behalf of the Pokagon Band, first, that we do appreciate the relatives who are caring for JD. And that placement, Your Honor, is consistent with MCL 712B.23a in that he is with extended relatives. He's also with extended relatives who are citizens of the Pokagon Band. Secondly, Your Honor, with respect to the second finding relative to an Indian child, the court must find that the child is, that the department or the agency has made active efforts consistent with MCL 712B.3 subsection A. In this particular instance, Your Honor, the Pokagon Band does support this court making that finding. In my review of the reports as well as testimony here today, the Pokagon Band would see things such as enhanced foster care being additional, the accommodation for Mr. Sinkler as to whether to be in Kalamazoo or Grand Rapids for his visitation. There's the foster care supportive visitation, which can be very beneficial to him if he were to continue in that. There is the therapy for JD. There is the communication between the department and Ms. Black, who's the designated contact person through the Pokagon Band, where they're all on the same text chain trying to stay up to date on any services and such. There's the referral to health care and dental care through the Pokagon Band Health Services. So we would ask, Your Honor, that there be continued contact with the Pokagon Band, that there be consultation with the band in terms of additional services that might be appropriate and culturally consistent. As to the recommendations, Your Honor, the Pokagon Band does support the recommendations that the next hearing be a permanency planning hearing. Having read the reports, it does seem like Mr. Sinkler does, care very much for JD. They're an hour long, and I'm not sure how what he can do in 1 hour can be extended to 24 hours. The lack of candor, or perhaps it's more transparency, is concerning, because if he can't be transparent with the department and through that the court, we're not exactly sure what might be going on should a child be returned to him. So at this time, Your Honor, the Pokagon Band does support a finding of active efforts, and that Mr. Sinkler, it's unfortunate he's not here today, because he needs to be admonished that he really has to get it in gear now, because we are running out of time. And for JD's sake, we can't ask him to wait around forever for permanency. So other than that, Your Honor, the Pokagon Band doesn't have anything further. Oh, I'm sorry. And we'd ask the court to issue a trauma assessment, to order a trauma assessment. Your Honor, I'm looking at Foster Care Manual 802 and a communication issuance of 25-032 issued on April 14th, 2025 from the Department of Health and Human Services. And JD covers all of those things that are qualifiers for a trauma assessment. But despite that, Your Honor, we would ask you to order it, because that doesn't seem to have been persuasive enough. And I think a court order would be the most persuasive. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ortega.
Thank you, Your Honor. I support the recommendations of the agency and take no further position. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Fagan.
Well, Your Honor, the recommendations are not inappropriate, but I would ask the court. It's hard to work with someone who is hard to work with, but the Kilashevsky report seems to suggest a degree of resistance and perhaps mental issues that have to be addressed for my client to succeed. And I'd ask that all possible services which address this resistance be put in place. I don't know what those look like. I think that the agency's trying, but we're not getting all of my client's efforts, even though he is a good parent to his child, which is really an important issue. But these other issues are significant, and I would ask that the agency work on trying to break down the barriers as best they can to cooperation between him and them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. The court finds that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the requirements of the statute, but definitely expects that the next visit be in person, and perhaps a little sooner in the quarter, just because this one was virtual. That returning this child to a parent today would cause a substantial risk of harm to the child's life, physical health, or mental well-being. That the child should not be returned to a parent. That the agency should not initiate proceedings to terminate parental rights to this child due to Mr. Sinkler's special needs, I guess would be the best way to put it. So the court finds that he needs a little more time and certainly more, as much support as possible. And I think the court is required, or the agency is required to provide that extra support, both because we're dealing with an Indian child and because we're dealing with a parent who has extra challenges. That reasonable efforts have been made to preserve and reunify the family, make it possible for this child to safely return home, that those reasonable efforts for reunification should continue. That in accordance with the statute, progress towards alleviating or mitigating the conditions that cause this child to be placed or remain in temporary foster care has not been made by the father. That the child's continued placement is necessary and appropriate, is meeting this child's needs. The needs of the child can be met in a foster family home. That this child is an Indian is defined in MCR 3.02 sub 12, and the placement remains appropriate and does comply with MCR 3.967 sub F. That this child is an Indian, and that the court finds that active efforts have been made to provide remedial services and rehabilitative programs designed to prevent the breakup of the Indian family. And all of these findings are based on not only the testimony today, but the reports that were admitted into evidence. That reasonable efforts have been made to finalize the court-approved permanency plan of return to a parent. That the permanency planning goal continues to be appropriate. That the foster home has followed reasonable and prudent parenting standard, and that this child has had regular opportunities to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities. The court orders the child continue in the protective and temporary custody of the court, continue placement with the Department for Care and Supervision. That the adjudicated respondent, Mr. Sinkler, comply with and benefit from the case service plan. That the parenting time of Mr. Sinkler is at the discretion of the department to allow unsupervised or supervised parenting time by its designee. Continue the prior order of the court that the child's therapist provide the court updates before each hearing. The court orders that a trauma assessment be completed on this child. The court also orders that a neuropsych exam be completed on Mr. Sinkler. While the court understands that evaluation may be just as challenging as the psychological exam, sometimes people respond better to other people, different people. So, and particularly in a case where we need active efforts and again, addressing his specific challenges, I think it's important that we do that now rather than wait. I'll continue the attorneys in this case, and I am concerned about the IEP. I'm not going to put anything in an order right now, but I really do expect that Ms. Peters goes back and looks at that and sees if perhaps Mr. Kosorek needs to get involved, or whether the school is on firm ground in denying it. And let's see, I'll continue the attorneys in this matter. And Ms. Gibson, do we have a date for a permanency planning hearing in about 3 months?
Yes, Your Honor, January 8th from 10:30 to 11:30.
Any conflicts with that date or time?
Not here, Your Honor.
No, it's fine.
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.